Hello and welcome back to my studio. My name is Blanca with Furniture with Imagination. Today we're going to be working this chest of drawers. It's a beautiful piece that I have from like 1920s and it's in mint condition. I want to actually give it a different look, and it has a really cute character, and we're going to be utilizing to do that Toscana Milk Paints in different tones. Um, so please put in the comments where you actually watching from. I always like to know from where our viewers are, and also tag 3 friends to enter the drawing. And our giveaway today is a bag of Toscana Milk Paint. So it's going to be a fun project, a little bit different from what I did last time, and let's just get started. Alright, so we're gonna start. So the first thing that you always have to do is to clean your piece with clean slate. This is an absolute step that you need to do to prep your work, so your finish always is beautiful and is going to be lasting. Okay, so I already did this. You just need to apply the clean slate with a little clean rag, and just use it throughout and then wipe off the excess, and then you're ready to start. Okay, good. So after that, we're going to be doing some milk paint only on the drawers. And as you can see, I did not sand the piece. So it has the finish and it has the top coat on it, it's shiny, and usually you cannot apply milk paint like that straight into a piece that has not been sanded. You will have to sand it, restain it, and do a whole process, and I'm not going to be doing that. So if you don't want to sand, you need to apply once the paint as a first coat to act as a primer. And I usually use a very light white color. Usually I use Bass Buff, but for this particular project, I'm going to try something different. I am going to be painting with one step paint, and this color is Donovan Green. I've never painted on a different color, but I want to try something different. This is a beautiful green color, and I want this color to peek through my milk paint. So I'm going to give it one coat and see how the coverage is. We could do 2 coats, but I think 1 coat is going to be sufficient. And then we're going to start with the process of the milk paint. So let's get started.
I'm applying the one-step paint now on this beautiful green color. The purpose of putting a first coat on one-step paint before my milk paint is so the milk paint has some tooth, meaning the milk paint is going to stick to the drawer. If you paint with milk paint straight into a piece which has not been sanded, or it has a top coat, a shiny piece, then your milk paint is not going to last, and it's just not going to stick to the surface. So if you're not willing to sand your piece to bare wood, then you always have to do this step, which is using one-step paint as a primer, which is what I'm doing here. Usually it's on a light color like white, but I decided to do something wild and crazy today, and I decided to paint as my primer with this beautiful green color. I'm going to let it dry now for about 20 minutes.
Okay, so we're ready for our next step, and this is now dry. I only put a coat because that's all is needed. It's just for the milk paint to grab onto something and have the milk paint just, stay. So the next step is to actually paint with milk paint. What I'm going to be using is Toscana Milk Paint on topiary. I put 3 parts of topiary and 1 part of black. It's just to give this milk paint a little bit more of a dark shade, and I had mixed it already. Remember, milk paint mixes 1 part milk paint, 1 part water. Okay, so I have mixed it already. I had let it sit for a while. I strained it so I don't have any little things inside. And remember, the milk paint doesn't have any bonding agents in it. It's very organic, so you have to stir all the time for those um, particles and colors and everything to be mixed up, especially when you're mixing a couple of uh, colors, okay? So we're gonna start painting.
Okay, so we're going to start the application of the milk paint. Remember, milk paint does not have a thick consistency. It's very watery and it tends to run. So when you are painting a piece, make sure you lay it flat so it is easier for you to paint it and you don't get any drips or runs or little tears on your furniture. This is the best way to do it. And I do it with a bristle brush and it goes very easily. So constantly stir it. Remember, you want all those pigments at the bottom to be available when you paint. And then your paint will have the same consistency throughout. But it's very easy. I love it. And we're going to let it dry now for about 30 minutes.
All right, so our milk paint has dried now into this beautiful green color. And we're going to be actually layering out more colors of milk paint. But we're not going to be painting the entire drawer, but just putting the milk paint strategically different places. So the colors I'm going to be using is this Venetian brown, which is a really nice brown color. And we're going to be using these as all get out, just kind of like an orangey color. So I already had mixed my two colors, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to layer the next colors on top of these drawers.
Okay, so I'm going to be layering down my colors on the drawer. And in order to do that, I'm going to be using my sea sponge. Now, this is a different technique that I'm doing. This is not like the other one I did on my past video with milk paint, which was painting layers on top of layers with a brush. This one is you're going to be blending colors, different colors, and you can utilize different colors at the same time with your sea sponge. As you can see, you just take this color, this is a Venetian brown, and I'm just dabbing this color on the already dried milk paint. So you put it whenever you feel like putting the color. Now this is the part where you become an artist and you become a designer and you put and lay down the colors the way you want. I'm taking out my orange and I'm just kind of like painting a little bit on the sides of this little thing just to make it look like it was painted before and this color is peeking through, giving it a little bit like an orangey tone. And you're free to actually just design it how you want it, make it look how you want it. This is where you become the designer and the painter. You can just take your other color and just blend the three colors by dabbing them, and you can use water if you don't like it. It's very easy. You can just put green milk paint again to cover what you don't like. So this process is very forgiving, and you can keep laying down the colors and put layers of colors until you're satisfied with the end product. You can actually step back a little bit and look at your design. Make sure you don't make it too busy, but you absolutely can blend a different amount of colors. You can even do more than 3 colors. Definitely, this is a very cool technique. I love it because you get to create the tones in the different parts, and it's just beautiful. So I'm going to continue to dab the color and blend it a little bit more, but I'm not going to be doing a lot more. with the rest of the piece. Okay, so now that our drawer is dry, I'm going to be applying our antiquing glaze. This glaze is liquid and it has this dark brown color. And what you do with it is that you use your natural sea sponge, you wet it in the antiquing glaze, and then you kind of like dab the glaze onto the piece. As you can see, this is pulling the paint like in the little corner. You can do a little more pressure or twist, and as you can see, the paint underneath is peeking through now. And I'm doing that in specific places. Don't do that everywhere because it's not gonna look nice, if you do it everywhere. But in strategic places, like wherever there's more wearing of the piece, you can do that. But this is gonna give it a little nice amber color, and it's gonna give different tones. Look, I'm actually pulling more paint from that part, which is gonna be like more worn out looking. Then we're gonna let it dry again, and we're ready for the waxes. Okay, so our drawer is dry now, and we're gonna be applying light wax and dark waxes. So the process is very simple. You pull your brush for light wax and you load it. Then you offload the excess wax into a cardboard piece, just to make sure you don't put too much wax on the piece. Otherwise, it's going to take forever to dry. And this process is very simple. Just very lightly apply the wax throughout the entire piece. And remember, this process is absolutely necessary. Never omit this step, because it is very important that you protect your milk paint. Usually the best result is obtained with wax. You can put matte sealer, but usually reactivates the milk paint, and you don't want that, especially when you have layered your paint. So wax is the best, and plus gives it that beautiful amber look, and then the dark wax gives it the most unbelievable colors. So there you go. You have to wait and then apply the dark wax after this. Just make sure you apply it throughout.
Okay, so we're done with the drawers now, and we are ready to take care of the rest of the piece. So what I did is I actually sanded it down to berry wood. This is a really nice piece, and looks like the wood is beech wood, which it has a close grain and it's a little bit dark, but it's beautiful. It's really nice, and I actually sanded out in 60 and went up to 120. And it's actually really smooth. So to complete the look, I'm going to be using on this wood some cerusine wax, which this is the cerusine wax from Vintage Wood, and it's going to leave that whitish cerusine look, but you're still going to be able to look at the rest of like the grain. So I'm going to be doing it by parts. First the top part and then the rest of the piece. Okay, so I'm gonna get started.
Okay, I'm going to apply now my cerusine wax on the top of the piece. I'm gonna be doing it in sections. The top is gonna be first. So how I like to apply it is I like to put it on a little saucer or plate, and I like to apply it with a bristle brush. It gives me a better application. It absorbs better than just with a rag. And I put a little bit of pressure while applying the wax for better absorption, and do it with the grain, with the wood grain. It would be easier and it's going to be absorbing better. It goes very simple, very fast. You just have to make sure, as I said, to put a little bit of pressure on the brush to make sure that it is absorbed in with the wood grain. Okay, so just continue doing that until you have full coverage, and then you're gonna leave it for about 10 minutes before you're gonna take the excess off, just to make sure that that wax is fully absorbed. Once you have it completely off, you wait 30 minutes if you want to buff it for the sheen of your like. Okay, so we're gonna wait now about 10 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna be taking the excess wax off now. Unfortunately, I let it sit for more than 10 minutes, so it's a little bit hard right now, but it's not a problem. We can take it off. You just have to rub it a little bit harder, and that wax is gonna get warmed and then it's gonna come off. So just rub against the wood grain just to loosen up the excess wax, and then take it up with the wood grain. Just doing motions against the wood grain and with the wood grain, and you're gonna be taking it off little by little. So change your towels as needed, because these towels get saturated fast, and then just keep doing the same process until you remove all the wax that you want. So I'm already starting to see the wood grain showing and peeking through, but it's really looking beautiful. So we're gonna let it dry now for about 30 minutes, and we're gonna buff it. Okay, so this is the big reveal, and we have our final piece. Those greens with the orange and browns just look absolutely beautiful. And the cerusing wax just left on the root wood that beautiful and absolutely gorgeous cerusing effect. So let's look it up from closer. Look at those tones. I love that orange tone. Matches the handles that I decided to put, which are kind of a warm color. And you can see how all the combination and blending of all those colors, milk paints, came out to be. If you can see some of that green paint that we put as a primer is peeking through, it looks absolutely beautiful. He gave it a very beautiful patina, and the different tones just are absolutely gorgeous. It was so easy to do, and you can do it. I want you to see the top and all that wood exposed with the cerusing effect, and just feels like butter. It's beautiful. This was absolutely converted, and for fall I decided to decorate with the seasonal fruit and flowers, and I made this apple cross that looks absolutely beautiful on top of this piece. Don't you think this piece looks fantastic with that on top? There you go. You can do it.
Thank you very much for watching this video, and I really hope that you enjoyed our fall piece. The procedure has nothing complicated in it, and we just use different tones of milk paint, cerusing wax, and obviously light wax and dark waxes. Please tag your friends, because we're going to be doing a drawing and you can win a bag of milk paint. And leave me your questions. I'll be more than happy to go back and answer all of your questions, and I hope that I'll see you next Wednesday.